This is The Community Connection on Roadblock Radio, 101.1 WCBS FM.
If you have war, you will get war. If you want to destroy China, you will be destroyed. If you want to impose nuclear war on China, you will be wiped out by nuclear war. This is very serious. China's policy is very clear. China will not fire the first shot, but China will not allow you to fire the second shot. If you have not watched the Victory Day parade in Beijing on September the 3rd, one of the weapons China demonstrated is a missile with all the warheads. We call it 61 because it can contain 60 nuclear warheads plus one hydrogen bomb. Now, in the world of today, let me tell you, which country has hydrogen bomb? China is the only country with hydrogen bomb. And that ICBM can cover every corner of the world in less than 20 minutes and destroy any target in any corner of the world without any possibility of being intercepted. I hope Washington has learned the lesson.
Roadblockradio.com. WMXJ 1027 HD3 South Florida.
This is The Community Connection on Roadblock Radio, 101.1 WCBS FM.
Rumors of war, gang violence. There's people dying all over the world. What's going on? Lock them down in the middle of a war. Tell me what we're fighting for. Get our youths dying every day. And what did they say? Everything is quite okay in the middle of a war. Tell me what we're fighting for. I say get our youths dying every day. And what did they say? Everything is quite okay. Yeah. Well, this is the truth here. It's a new time and a new year. One time a missile, one fear. No one nuclear. I know the truth here, so I have to blow my flute here. I come to rise upon my youth here. What's wrong with these brutes here? One get executed. The plan of can, yet them want come recruits here. They try to rid me of my culture, my roots here. I get a kick out of my boot here. Cause this a real war, real world war, revolutionary war. I don't see the reason for real war, nuclear war, real gang war. Tell me what we're fighting for. Real war, real world war, revolutionary war. I don't see the reason for real war, real gang war, real world war. Yeah. Mama in the ghetto can't find food for yam. The little tax money where she works so long. Uncle Sam take it and go use make mom. It's like they don't care about the future plan. So the youths about the future they recruit my man. Put him in a suit, turn him in a Superman. Last week you know hear them execute a man. And who cares, nobody really gives a damn. In this war, real world war, revolutionary war. I don't see the reason for real war, real gang war, nuclear war. Tell me what we're fighting for. Real war, real world war, revolutionary war. I don't see the reason for real war, real world war, real gang war. Yeah. Down in the ghetto where things ain't so nice. Where only the fittest of the fittest survive. If you're not strong enough yourself, we take hold of your life. In a little while I will be telling you bye-bye. Shots start bust, I got to run for my life. Got to take 2 pence in a bush I dive. You have to run behind water, car bullets no advice. Had anything to try to survive. In the middle of a war, real world war, revolutionary war. I don't see the reason for real war, real gang war, nuclear war. Tell me what we're fighting for. Real war, real world war, revolutionary war. I don't see the reason for real war, nuclear war, real world war. Yeah, now this a war. Tell me what we're fighting for. Get our youths dying every day. And what did they say? Everything is quite okay in the middle of a war. Tell me what we're fighting for. I said get your youths dying every day. And what did they say? everything is quite okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not though. Hey, war. Hey, welcome to the Community Connection right here on Roadblock Radio. This is the #1 interactive program here on Roadblock Radio, and got a fantastic show lined up for you guys. I'm David Shepard. We have Roslyn Smith with us, and Patrick Reed is out for the day, so we'll be holding things down. We have 2 guests that will be joining our panels. We'll introduce them shortly. But as you can see in the beginning of the program, I played a soundbite of China, sending a direct message to the White House, making it clear it won't make the first strike, but don't be fooled. You won't be able to make a second one because what they have is none to compare, especially with that nitrogen bomb. And I don't know why we got to be throwing around nuclear war and bomb and who has the biggest one. And I mean, it's, spoke about this before in another show. We have people here trying to live their lives, trying to see their grandkids grow up. I mean, what are we fighting for? It's like Ayatana just said, But we'll discuss it throughout the show. Of course, we're going to be talking about what went down in Minneapolis with the shooting there from the ICE agent. And of course, we'll be talking about President Trump, what his reaction is. Hakeem Jeffrey, some of other leaders around the world, and in the country here, what their reactions are to the shooting. We'll talk about that as well. All right, so as we get into it, I know Roslyn has quite a few topics. We'll be talking about Mr. Bryant as well, the pastor. Have some bites of him and what this dress. We've been talking about it all week, what this dress, the uproar. But people now are thinking that the narrative is different and what the objectives are for people, what they think the whole narrative is about. There's speculations and all that. We'll talk about that as well. And also we'll talk a little bit about Venezuela and what's going down in Venezuela, Iran as well. There's right now a really huge protest going on. So there's a lot to talk about right here on the Community Connection. We'll get right into it in just a few minutes. I think Roslyn is trying to get herself together here. So once she do, we'll get into it and we'll talk some more. All right, guys, keep it locked right here. It is the Community Connection.
Is this love? Is this love? Is this love? Is this yes, I know now. Oh, yes, I know, yes, I know, yes, I know now. I'm willing and able. So I throw my cards on your table. See, I wanna love you. I wanna love and treat you. Love and treat you right. I wanna love you every day and every night. We'll be together with the roof right over our heads. We'll share the shelter of my single bed. We'll share the same room. Yeah.
This is The Community Connection on Roadblock Radio, 101.1 WCBS FM.
All right, welcome back here to the Community Connection. 15 minutes after 2 o'clock here, just kicking off the show, and I think Roslyn is joining us now. She looks well together. Hello, Roslyn, looking beautiful today. You're on mute. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes, no problem. Thank you so much, David. Thanks for always holding it down. I feel just blessed and elated to be here with you and the Community Connection on this gorgeous Sunday.
Yes, it is. And I see we have a guest here joining us, Mr. Lewis. Want to introduce the guest?
Sure, it's Numa St. Louis. I'm absolutely elated to be here to join you on this wonderful Sunday. I like the tunes too.
Oh, that's what we do here. We rock it, man, on Roadblock Radio. All right, guys. I'm not sure if you guys were listening in the beginning of the program. I started off with a clip from China. It's a direct message to the U.S. and the White House. Have you guys heard it?
I don't believe so.
Would you guys like to take a listen just to recap? Because I really want to hear you guys' response.
Yes.
I wonder if people are concerned about, what potentially could happen and if we're prepared for doomsday. Let's take a listen.
If you want to destroy China, you will be destroyed. If you want to impose nuclear war on China, you will be wiped out by nuclear war. This is very serious. China's policy is very clear. China will not fire the first shot, but China will not allow you to fire the second shot. If you have not watched the Victory Day parade in Beijing on September the 3rd, one of the weapons China demonstrated is a missile with all the warheads. We call it 61 because it can contain 60 nuclear warheads plus one hydrogen bomb. Now, in the world of today, let me tell you, which country has hydrogen bomb? China is the only country with hydrogen bomb. And that ICBM can cover every corner of the world in less than 20 minutes and destroy any target in any corner of the world without any possibility of being intercepted. I hope Washington has learned the lesson.
Are you guys concerned after hearing that? It's a direct message to us here in the U.S. You're muted.
Sure thing. Well, before we get into the reactions, for those of you who don't know Numa, he is a very seasoned public servant, community advocate, and political strategist. He has a footprint in Washington, D.C. as a former congressional staffer. He has served at the city government level in Philadelphia, numerous, accolades, appointments, advocacy and activism efforts. So I just wanted to give that context.
Thank you for that. Yes,
before he gives those responses. Yes. Sure thing.
So, Mr. Lewis, what do you think?
Well, I think China's making its position clear. Obviously, China is a world power. It's emerging as an economic powerhouse. And in light of the U.S. Various actions, I think China is concerned in terms of its sphere of influence in the East. I think there's two superpowers now, I think we can say. I think after the Cold War, was over in the early 90s, the US for the past 30 years has been the world superpower. And I think China has emerged as a competitor, if you will, not just economically, but also militarily. And I think that China is certainly exercising, displaying their military might. I certainly hope that we don't come to a nuclear war, because that's very, very serious. That's essentially eliminating a whole country, a whole population. I mean, we remember what happened in Hiroshima and Japan. So I certainly hope cooler heads prevail. But certainly, it's a situation that deserves a lot of attention, not just for us here in America, but throughout the world.
Yeah, I totally agree with Numa. And one thing that I found compelling was China's stance on the invasion of Venezuela and how it is a violation to their sovereignty. And so when I take 10,000 steps back and I look at this and I say, with the advancement of China and BRICS, right? And the fact that coming out of Washington, D.C., we're no longer hearing about drug cartels in Venezuela. We're hearing about oil and executives, meeting with the president. And so I also think of a key thing is that, China's also looking at this as, is the U.S. now trying to somehow catch up, right? Because there was a new world order that was forming. And we know that in order to be a superpower, it means that you have control and influence over resources. And so I wonder if some of the increase or the tension in their tenor of communication is around, hey, we see what your long play is. And if you don't check and balance yourself, we're going to do it for you. That's what it sounded like to me. But again, I certainly hope it doesn't come to that, because we know that any type of atomic warfare would completely destroy all of civilization at this point, right?
Yeah. The president, I said that he just said it again a few days ago in a press conference that he had, that he ended 18 wars in his career. But I'm wondering how many are we instigating in at the same time? What do you guys think about Greenland? Now, there's declarations on Greenland, right? Exactly the same. What President Trump is trying to go after for Greenland, I believe we already have, because there's treaties. All right, to deploy troops, to build a military base there, to maintain military operation control, and to be able to have access to move all over Greenland. We already have that. I mean, it's a part of NATO. That's not only that, but it was written in, what was it, like the 60s or something, somewhere back in history, where it says that the U.S. has rights to do all these things. I guess we need the title with it. What do you guys think about that?
Well, the situation in Greenland,
I think we have to give credit.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Roz.
No. Actually, you know what? I think, Numa, you're the one with the international affairs background. Let me let you go, and I'll respond.
No, I was just going to say that Greenland is interesting because it's under the purview of Denmark, which is a European country, which is part of NATO. And I think it represents a challenge for the U.S. because the U.S. is a NATO. And part of that military pact is that no NATO country can attack an ally. So if the U.S. was to invade or take over Greenland, essentially it would be sort of like attacking
itself, its own ally.
So I think the European reaction is pretty interesting, which is sort of like condemning the U.S. To me, what's more compelling is that they have a different approach vis-a-vis Venezuela. I think with respect to Greenland, the whole European Union or community has spoken in unison, in one voice, to condemn the threats of invading Greenland, sort of like the NATO connection. But to me, I would like to see a universal approach. Invading another country is not right. It violates all types of international law. It's a flagrant violation of sovereignty. So I think, to me, the reaction vis-a-vis Greenland, which is essentially a European country, and I see that France has come out, England has come out, Germany has come out, Denmark has come out to say, hey, U.S., chill out here. That's not right. But the built up to the kidnapping of President Maduro, there was very little pushback from the Europeans. So I think that's an interesting contrast.
Certainly. And so, David, I want to bring you back to a program we had on the Community Connections where we had a member of the Guyana Parliament who came on. And at that point, in December of 2025, before the capture of Maduro, we had made some observations on the show about the fact that the UK had stopped sharing intelligence with the United States about the Caribbean region and Venezuela specifically. And so to me, that represented a fracture, in our relations with our allies. And I think that this most recent, controversy over Greenland is just another fracture point where we're alienating, the people that we're supposed to be in unison with, right? And so then, the almost cynical part of me also looks at it and says, is this a red herring, right? Because all of this rhetoric is coming at a time where we see the erosion of the Affordable Care Act subsidies, with the conversation about affordability had peaked. And then now there's the focus has completely shifted. So a part of me wants to almost give credit where credit is due in terms of the right and this administration. They seem like media masterminds. They definitely know how to manipulate public discourse and take the focus off of issues that really matter to Americans at their kitchen table.
Mm-hmm. And now Greenland was just given to the people. They have a lot of native that from there, the indigenous people that's been there for however long, many years. And I believe Denmark just gave back the to them, right, to the people. Am I correct? Would I be correct with that?
I think they have the ability to self-govern in the sense that they can elect a governor, they have home rule. So think of like the relationship U.S. and Puerto Rico, right? They can sort of like elect their local leaders, if you will, but the country is essentially an offshoot or a colony, if you will, of Denmark, which is sort of like a country in Europe.
What would be? I know he said it's for security, for the national security for the country here. Do you guys really believe that's what it's for? And what would be the security? Because we already have control, really.
I think the U.S., you're right. The U.S. does have a military presence there already.
Right.
So it begs the question, what type of security? Strategically, I think it's an important sort of like offshoot for the U.S., but they're also rich in natural resources like lithium and a whole host of stuff that they have underneath their soil. And I think that's probably an element that's very, very interesting.
But it's very little compared to the U.S. or what the U.S. have compared to them. I mean, it's very little. And I think Greenland has the most reserve for, fresh water? I mean, that place is like ice, isn't it?
There's a lot of ice, but there's also a lot of natural resources, I think, in terms of like stuff that they use to make cell phones. It's very rich in natural resources.
Got you. Roslyn?
No, I don't have any particular rebuttal to that. I just think, again, all of this has taken the focus away from our kitchen tables, right? And the fact that a lot of Americans right now are struggling.
Sure. All right, we're going to take a small break and we'll be right back. It's the Community Connection right here.
This is the Community Connection on Roadblock Radio, 101.1 WCBS FM. Radio.
Got that road. Got that road.
101.1 FM HD3. CBS FM.
Yeah.
Welcome back here to the Community Connection. I'm David Shepard, Roslyn Smith, and we do have our guest. Thank you for correcting me there, Roslyn. St. Louis, right? I thank you for that.
Yes.
So I know for the first half an hour there, we spoke about, what's going on with global affairs there, but I want to talk about a little more, go into Venezuela if we can, and also the effect of what's going on there and in the Caribbean and how it's affecting Trinidad and Tobago. And Roslyn, you sent me a clip. I'd like to play that because it's becoming a concern now. So let's take a listen to that real quick and then we'll talk about it, okay?
Is it true? Because I've heard that Venezuela has said that if they are invaded, that they are going to bomb Trinidad.
What we have seen thus far, is that, even a blind person can see that this is not at all about drug cartels and running after drug dealers. We all know that it is all about oil. The oil in Venezuela that the United States is desirous of usurping. 3 boats have been blown up. In the Caribbean, I think there's a total of 70 people who have been killed. And the end result of all of this is the fact that people are in fear, or people are scared. They're running scared. And we are not hearing from the powers that be. But basically, I think that the people are quite laid back, quite complacent, not at all aware of the crucial nature of this entire scenario, the fact that there is impending war. We are not ready. Nobody is taking this thing, very few people are taking this thing seriously. There's a small minority that have the awareness, but people are going about their business as usual.
Is it true? Because I've heard that Venezuela has said that if they are invaded, that they are going to bomb Trinidad. Is that true?
They said they did. Yes, they did. So that all of these inflammatory remarks have been made. The situation has escalated. And we are all preparing for war. People are not taking it seriously, and that is my concern. Our people are not ready.
Rastafari independent, non-aligned media is so important because we want to use this episode to sound the trumpet.
I'm sorry. How's this thing looking? Is it looking imminent at this point? Do you guys think that at some point something's going to happen over there in that region? What do you think, Roslyn? I think Roslyn is... are you frozen, Roslyn? Can you hear us? All right. Yes,
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Yes, what I was saying is that I think a lot of the fear that is coming out of that community really has to do with the fact that the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, prior to the capture of Maduro, was very not in lockstep with the rest of the Caribbean in terms of, condemning the escalation of tensions, right? And so because she had taken such almost an apologist, nonchalant approach, people are just maybe not confident in their own sovereignty of that nation and what the response would be, if some of the conflict in Venezuela started to spill over into Trinidad and Tobago.
Mr. St. Louis, what do you think? You're muted. Unmute for a minute.
Yeah, thanks. I think what Roslyn said is precisely right. I think that Trinidad stood as a unique country in the Caribbean in terms of CARICOM that were very appalled, that denounced the growing military presence in the region, that felt that it represented a threat for the overall security of the Caribbean. And Trinidad stood as the sole country that was essentially an apologist, that allowed for the U.S. to use their airspace, that was pretty much sort of like looking away, not viewing the threat as being a danger to the overall safety of the Caribbean. And I think traditionally Venezuela and Trinidad, they've enjoyed a pretty good relationship. I think they're neighboring countries, they're sister countries. They benefit a lot from oil from Venezuela. So I think a lot of people in the Caribbean were appalled by that. And Venezuela did sort of issue some threats to Trinidad because, like I said, Trinidad did allow for the U.S. to use their airspace to do some training and the like, which Venezuela naturally saw as a threat.
And you know what? And not to completely shift focus, right? Because I think it's interesting. All of us on this program and most of the audience for Roadblock Radio, Community Connection, we're talking to the Caribbean diaspora, some of which are abroad, right? So we know that this program is available, in the US as well as on the World Wide Web. So we have people listening from a lot of different places. However, I think sometimes it's hard to bridge the connection between what our people are facing, in the nation where they are versus how we are impacted as the broader diaspora living abroad. So I know that you have been very involved, within the Haitian community, and then we have partnered in the past, around the Caribbean diaspora. So I need help, even myself, kind of understanding what does that mean for us that are living in the U.S. and abroad, who have connections to this region. Help us really understand why is this important? Why is it impactful? And what our call to action might be. And I know that was a very big question, but I know you're the man for the job.
It's a loaded question, right? Multifaceted. But in terms of your question, what does that mean from an Afro-Caribbean standpoint? I think that we have to remind ourselves that we live in a global world, and it's important that we champion the world order. It's very important that international law reigns and that there's actually mutual respect. We can't have one country imposing its will to the rest of us, because that creates chaos, right? That creates dangerous precedents. And that is why I believe that the UN needs to reestablish itself. The UN is so important in terms of keeping countries in check. Obviously, throughout history, throughout mankind, powerful countries have been able to do more. But I think it's very, very important that the UN does not lose its validity, right? Because I think in this context now, a lot of folks are like, wait a minute, where's the UN in all this? Let's say Maduro did all these horrible things. How come the international community is not saying a word here? How come one country is taking upon itself to sort of violate international law, violate sovereignty, and say, hey, we're going to take you, we're going to judge you in our own courts, irrespective of our jurisdiction, right? I mean, at least with the Bush administration, they gave some semblance of interest in international law. They went before the UN, did a presentation, right? irrespective if it was true or not, but at least they understood that there's an international community that needed sort of like to have their input to review it. So I think for us as smaller countries, as people of the Caribbean, of the Black world, we have to sort of like champion the international law, because that's our only way to sort of like be a player at the table, to make sure that there are like rules, right? That every country is subject to these rules, right? We can't have one country sort of like doing what it does, because that creates a bad precedence, right? So what if France says, you know what, Congo, you were once, a colony of mine. You have some resources. Now I want them. And what's going to prevent France from going to Congo, right? If we don't have laws that say that is wrong. What's going to prevent China to go into Taiwan if we're not sort of like championing safeguards to ensure that every country is binding to these rules? So I think it's a dangerous precedence.
Right. And we've been here before, Numa, where we've had some conversations about how do we get our people to act in a block and in unison in such a way that it drives accountability and change. Now, granted, we recognize, because a lot of our countries have either origins or have been heavily impacted by colonialism and imperialism, we know what the odds are, right? There's no necessarily, we're not chasing the US out of any specific geography, right? But when it comes to us organizing and saying, who do we go to? Do we go to the UN? Do we pressure CARICOM and say, you need to issue a statement, or, who are our true allies at
Right.
moments like this? Because how do we know that the next invasion is not going to be, in Jamaica or well, I wanted to say Guyana, but that kind of seems like
That's happened before, right? Yeah.
that's too close for comfort. But no, I'm just saying, like, there are other natural resources in the geographies where we have our lineage from that a world power would want. So what do we do about it now? And what do we say the legacy of the 21st century will be in terms of how us as a diaspora and as a community stood up to, this colonization mentality?
Right. I think our leverage is in our numbers, is in our people. When you look at Africa, we have over 50 plus countries. When you look at the Caribbean, so we are very powerful in terms of our numbers, right? So it behooves us to be together, to have a common interest, to work in concert for a common good. Because we know the old trick is to divide and conquer. And whenever they see there's fraction, there's a lack of connectivity, it allows folks to sort of like sweep in and do what they do.
Wherever that weak link is.
Yeah, do what they do. So to prevent these things from happening, it's very important that we come together, putting aside our petty differences and realize that our true power lies in our collectivity and working together as one group of people, irrespective if you're on the mainland or if you're in the diaspora, because we have to learn the lessons of the colonial era. A lot of stuff from the past are repeating. A lot of the stuff that we read about in the textbook, we're seeing right before our eyes, right? And it's very, very troublesome. So we have to learn those lessons and apply them.
Yeah, I agree 100%. There's a lot of things going on around the world, and it concerned me to wonder if there will be a World War III. Less than 24 hours ago, the U.S. launched a strike into Syria after ISIS. And then we have Iran right now. They're facing a serious, their people are rebelling right now. I don't know if I should call it rebel, but they're protesting. I see they put out a blockout yesterday for internet purposes. They did a total blockout in certain part of the regions over there. The government did that because they didn't want the protests to be seen around the world.
Right.
I mean, there's so much things going on around the world. What do you guys? And then with China, as we said, but let's talk a little bit about Iran and also this other country we're talking about, which is ISIS.
Yeah, Iran is a very interesting country. It's also an oil-rich country in the Middle East. They are a theocracy, which means that it's a country that is based or ruled by religion, Islam, and the government has been there since the late 70s, early 80s. And the theocracy doesn't really allow much flexibility. So from time to time, you are going to have people that protest, people that take issue with their treatment or lack of rights. And I think that we should, support people's right to free speech, to freedom of religion, and what have you. But I do caution in terms of instigating protests for our own interests, in terms of cultivating coup d'etats or picking sides in these things. Because there's dangerous precedents going back to the British and the Shah, where we overthrew governments that we thought would work in our favor for our own interests. I think that's problematic as well. I do think that we should support people's rights, as I said, to protest. And if there's going to be a revolt or a new change of government, it should be organic, right? Because whenever we impose our will or governments, these things have a tendency of not working out. Throughout history, whenever, we took it upon ourselves to say, hey, we don't like this government, we're going to parachute in, right? Scoop up the old regime, set them aside, and we're going to put our own people there. These things are directly opposed to the interests of the locals, and they tend not to work. So I'm very leery when our government, is sort of like interjecting itself in a domestic matter. I think that we should sort of like promote free speech, freedom of organize, freedom of rights, but not necessarily sort of like really infiltrating their country through our secret services or what have you, through covert operations, because I think these things tend to be counterproductive in the long run.
Yeah, and I see also, Roslyn, I'm gonna let you comment on that real quick, but I see also here in Syria where President Trump is sending a threat out also that if he sees people start getting killed, that the U.S. will be jumping in to try and clear things up. What do you guys? Well, go ahead, Roslyn. I just had to throw that in there too.
I think you're a mind reader, David, because that's exactly where I was going to go. Because how can you concurrently, have the melee and unrest that we've experienced this week with ICE agents, using brutal and deadly force on American citizens, right? And then try to critique a foreign nation saying, oh, if we see you shooting protesters, we're going to step in. It's again, that's clearly not what the true interest is. This is not about the rights of people in Iran. This is not about human rights in Venezuela. There are special interests, with people who have way deeper pockets than myself that they're trying to serve with these policies. And this rhetoric really is just a precursor to something, some sort of escalation. And the question that I'm asking, and members of that used to support, the current administration are asking, is what happened to America first, really?
Right. Yeah, we have a caller, 1-877-255-3086. Let's check in on the line to see who it is. Good afternoon. You're live on the Community Connection. Who's this? Hello? Okay, we lost that call. They hung up. All right. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like we're interjecting ourselves. He's trying to be a peacemaker, I guess, around the world. But at the same time, I don't see how beneficial it is to nibble in other nations' business when nobody can talk to the U.S. at all about anything. I want to talk about Minneapolis, but I know we're coming up to a break, which is one of the biggest news now across the nation, the shooting there from the ICE agent. If you don't mind, we'll take a break, and I guess we can talk about it when we get back. All right, so keep it locked, guys. It's the Community Connection right here, 5 minutes before 3 o'clock.
The Community Connection on Roadblock Radio, 101.1 WCBS FM.
The strong one, I keep it locked to shepherd. What? At it up, blaze the fire red. No, I'm not afraid. No, if them are come, let them come. Shepherds protected by the Most High One. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm on your worries. I'm on your trouble. Yo, 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 yo. I'm on your worries. I'm on your trouble. Anywhere you go, it's the same cry. Money worries. Money worries.
Hi, welcome. We're on break, okay? Don't pay me any mind back here. I'm just messing around. We're on a commercial break, so when we come back on, okay? Welcome.
Okay, thank you. Hello.
Hello.
Turn up your radio. Yes, sir. It's Roadblock Radio. Tune in to Roadblock. It's roadblockradio.com. CBS FM 101.1 HD3.
Stephen A. Smith that he don't know what he's doing. He can't run for president of government. He can't even do sports. They crushing Stephen A. Smith, and I love to see Stephen A. Smith is not for the people. People are saying Stephen A. Smith,
Just mute
you are
for
doing
me.
nothing.
I'm
You don't know
sorry, whoever
sports.
that
You don't
is,
know politics.
just mute. Everyone mute for me, thanks.
Enough respect, respect, enough respect. Enough respect, enough respect, enough respect, enough respect, enough respect, enough respect.
All right, welcome back here to the Community Connection on Roadblock Radio. The number here is 1-877-255-3086. And of course, we stream on roadblockradio.com 24 hours, 7 days a week. And of course, you can catch us on the dial at 101.1 WCBS FM HD3. That's in the New York, New Jersey, tri-state area. And of course, the brand new station in Hartford, Connecticut at 93.7 WZMX. All right. And in South Florida, I can't forget you guys, 102.7 WMXJ. Thank you all for locking in and keeping the community connection in your dial. All right. So we have Roslyn Smith with us and, of course, a panel of other guests. I see we have another guest just joined us. I'm going to let Roslyn do the introduction here. Roslyn?
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, David, I must say we have been having a very deep and productive conversation today about some of the international relations as well as things happening at home. Before the top of the hour, we had an opportunity to speak kind of one-on-one with Numa St. Louis, who has a Washington, D.C. footprint, international affairs background, former congressional staffer, and love the insights that we've been receiving from him. In addition to the panel that we are now forming, I have a very good friend. Her name is Tamia Booker, and she is a nationally respected political strategist with over 20 years of building coalitions and driving change, She has served as the Deputy Chief of Staff to Senator Cory Booker. She has been a national political director for presidential campaigns. And if you ever thought to yourself, who are the real life Olivia Popes out there? Well, you're getting up close with one right now. Her name is Tamia Booker, and I'm really excited to hear her insights. And so, Tamia, just so you're aware, before the break, we had started talking about the fact that there has been quite an escalation in unrest in this country, given the incidents in Minneapolis and Portland with the use of and fatal force by ICE agents. And I know that you spoke with BBC earlier, or last week rather, and had some insights about the fact that the most recent things happening have shifted, and we're starting to see fractures in the right. So would you just help us just better understand how these most recent events are shifting temperature in Washington, D.C., and within people or groups that we think of as supporters of the current administration?
Absolutely. Well, first, thank you all for having me here today. Always delighted to be in the space with Roz, and great to meet you too, David. So it was a very trying week between last Saturday, or excuse me, 2 Saturdays ago now, when the president decided that he wanted to capture the president of Venezuela, then adding to that fuel to fire in our very own home, those who are the administration's enforcers of the law are now at a place where they are killing innocent bystanders who are trying to flee a scene. And there's a lot of unrest for many reasons, and as you talked about with fracturing the right, those of us who, as you mentioned, I am very much a democratic strategist, so we've been frustrated for a long time. But I think the tipping point has occurred in the 11 days we've been in this month, where we are harming people, and it's in a place where people of authority are harming civilians. So I think the tension we're now starting to see on the right is twofold. One, they were promised a whole lot of things when they voted for him. More affordable living, more affordable food, and neither of those things have happened, coupled with the idea now that the priority at the top of the year is to take over another country, and the American people are being neglected and now being shot. Now, we know as Black people that our folks have died at the hands of police for centuries, but there's a new element here where those who are employed by the federal government, meaning the President of the United States, are now have no accountability and are at a place where they are failing, shooting multiple people. And so the fracture now is here in that I think finally people have realized on that side that things have gone too far. And what does that mean for us as a country?
Let's bring in a caller here. We have a caller on the line. Let's bring him in on the topic here. Roadblock Radio. Good evening. Welcome to the Community Connection. Who's this?
This is Denzo, and welcome to you guys, and welcome to all the listeners. Unfortunately, I did not want to comment on the topic that is discussing right now, so I don't want to take you guys off topic. So maybe if you want to finish that, and then I could call back.
Well, no,
because
go ahead.
I want to comment on something before this topic.
No, you could go ahead and go ahead and mention it. What is it? So we're going through a lot of different topics here on this program. So if you want to talk about something, that's right. Fine. We'll come back to this.
I want to backtrack to the Maduro and the threat from Venezuela to Trinidad, because Trinidad had slightly take a position to kind of have the U.S. nesting in their backyard using their airspace. And Venezuelan people might take an offense to that and would want to punish Trinidad for doing so. As a result of that, we as Jamaican, which are also in the Caribbean, might look at it and say, where do we stand?
Mm-hmm.
What I have to say towards that, we see this as an imperial move, imperialism, right?
Mm-hmm.
We in the Caribbean are automatically becomes a part of the imperial power structure, which is the United States. Because if we were to be invaded by any other imperialism, like such as Russia, China, or whosoever is strong to come and take us over, we would have to rely on the US to defend us. So at the same time, we have to see the US position. Another imperialist power nesting in their backyard, which is Venezuela. They're not going to sit while that goes on, because that becomes a national security threat to the United States themselves. And that's how imperial power works, to remain their dominance in their territory. So we still have to decide whose power structure we are a part of, because we ourselves cannot do anything. So we are automatically becomes a part of one of the imperialist power structure. So we have to still make a decision. So the decision that Trinidad make, I don't see it as so bad, because we can stand neutral at no time at all, even though we think we are. And we still have to look at history and still have to ask the question, whose power structure we're a part of, because imperialism will never die. You know, Venezuela has resources, all the imperialists wants it because they have a lot of resources. It's in the backyard of the US. And I close, they are not going to be comfortable with another imperialist power nesting in their backyard. They're going to rise up against it. We see the Cuban Missile Crisis. We see they're after Greenland for the same reason.
Got you. All right.
That's all I have to say. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for the call in, man. Sir St. Louis, do you want to respond real quick before we head back to the other topic there before?
Sure. I mean, what comes to mind is the Monroe Doctrine. For those who don't know, President Monroe was a president of the United States, and he came with this concept that is called Monroe Doctrine, with help to inform his foreign policy. And basically, his viewpoint was that everything that was in the Western Hemisphere belongs to the United States, is the United States' backyard, and thus no other power should intervene in this hemisphere, because this hemisphere belonged to the United States. And for the past few decades, the U.S. sort of like shied away from that policy, because, you know, countries became more independent. We're talking more about sovereign rights. We're talking more about international law, and that each country, irrespective of their size, had sovereignty, had laws, that no one country could dominate another. So it seems to me that President Trump has talked about, reigniting this Monroe Doctrine concept, which is like the U.S. does what it feels like. The U.S. has a long history of invading countries in this hemisphere, from Nicaragua to Chile to Haiti to Venezuela, just happens to be the latest one. And we have to study these situations to see, like, to what extent have they worked? Has these U.S. interventions yield progress, yield benefits, or have they been counterproductive? And whose interests have been met? And I think history can help inform those things. And I think in the case of Venezuela, the people of Venezuela are very mindful of their resources. And I think there's a sense of nationalism that they want to protect that, and that their natural resources belong to the Venezuelan people. I will also say, with respect to Venezuela, there's also a demographic issue that is very often lost in this conversation. Venezuela has a sizable Native American population there, which is a far contrast to the folks we're seeing down in Florida, who are very married to the land, they have a special connection to the land, and feel like the machismo, the Chismo, Maduro sort of like regime, Bolivarian revolution, as they call it, is very much aligned with their interests. So I think that demographic is really, really interesting, because we're seeing a contrast relative to how folks feel in Madrid or Florida, and compare that to what we're seeing in Caracas in Venezuela, where you have the locals who have a slightly different perspective, although some of them may disagree with Maduro, but the idea of having another country parachute in and take their president and make projections on their resources in terms of controlling it, I think may rub some people the wrong way. Now, I'll close with this. I understand the sphere of influence and imperialism. Today, maybe Venezuela. Tomorrow, maybe Trinidad. The day after, maybe Guyana. So I'm a proponent of international law and order system, whereby sovereignty is respected, right? And that the rule of law is respected, and that international law is respected, and the UN is empowered. So I don't necessarily subscribe to the idea that one country, because of their military might, can sort of like do as it please, because I think it sets a bad precedent and a dangerous one.
I absolutely agree. Roslyn, we're going to head back to the topic we were talking with Tamara Booker. I have a clip here from Marjorie Taylor here, where she was on a program, and she talks about why she believed that invading or going into Venezuela is a betrayal of MAGA. Take a listen, guys.
It's been striking to me to see the confusion, people trying to figure out where they're supposed to land, and supposed is a key word there, supposed to land on that issue. Here's what I have to say. I served on Homeland for 3 years, and drugs killing Americans is a serious issue. Fentanyl overdose deaths in my district skyrocketed by 280%. But fentanyl was coming across the Mexico border, and that comes from Chinese chemical precursors. It wasn't Venezuela that we were ever talking about. Yeah. So I push back on the reason given is that we're taking down Maduro because he's killing Americans with drugs. Venezuela is not even in the top 10 when it comes to drugs being imported in the U.S. So you can't hold Maduro accountable and not hold Mexican cartels accountable, who are number one. So that doesn't work for me. Number two, we campaigned, and I went to countless Trump rallies and stood on the stage with the president and stood on the stage with other Republican candidates and said, America first, no more regime change, no more foreign wars, no more foreign intervention, enough of this. That's what America first means. And militarily invading a country, killing people in the process, arresting their leader and taking him out, and then claiming this is for the Venezuelan people and saying all the charges are about drugs, but then turning around and literally every single statement is about Venezuelan oil and how it belongs to America, which I don't quite understand that. I believe it belongs to Venezuela. It's not working. And that entire narrative is not working for most people who are saying, wait a minute, I thought MAGA was America first. I thought we voted to put the American people first. And that's where I stand. Yeah. And I think it's even a deeper issue is if it's okay to go into Venezuela and arrest Maduro, then why are we telling China you can't go and take Taiwan? Right. Why are we telling Russia you can't go take Ukraine? Who are we to tell any country
that's my question.
Anything?
Right.
Roslyn?
Yeah, I actually, since we have someone who's like at the war room in terms of national campaigns, to me, I got a hot potato this to you. What do Americans really care about right now? And how are some of these recent events, 11 days into the year, how's that going to help shape the midterm election?
Well, I appreciate that. And listening to the clip, I don't know what world I'm in where I agree with things that Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying. Just don't get it. But we're here. So the American people care about affordability and safety. And when you are doing these things that don't actually impact what's happening with people's livelihoods, people get disgruntled. So we start off the year invading another country, and then we turn around and ICE, that is here to enforce immigration law, kill someone who is trying to just stand there and look out for her neighbors. That's not illegal, and there's no justification for her death. So these things, when you think through the MAGA agenda, are complete derailment. So no one goes to bed at night in this country prior to January 3rd thinking how Venezuela was impacting them or helping them pay their rent or buy groceries. And now the biggest thing I saw post Venezuela, post the invasion or the kidnapping, we should actually call it, was that Americans were asking how it impacted their gas prices. That was the thing I kept seeing online and on cable news right after this happened, because at the core of it, people are just trying to survive and want to know how they can make a living. And the fact that the first question was that over anything else tells us a lot, that people are really trying to make it, and we need things to be more affordable.
You know, I saw that they took two other ships recently. I think it's mid last week, some point, or this week, wherever it was. It's very recent. And one of them had a Russian flag on it. Now, I see they're bidding across with other different countries on the oil already. He's already saying, you know, all these countries are already coming in and they're willing and ready now to make deals with the oil from Venezuela. What does this say?
Well, as soon as I had learned that Venezuela was the largest oil supplier in the world, I said, "Oh, I know what this war is about." That's that he's trying to start. This is about money, and Donald Trump only cares about money. He doesn't care about people. He cares about money and what he can do to make himself richer. And as we see now, people are starting to put that together. So these are completely selfish ambitions, and even many have said, well, that's not how this works. You can't just go and just like take their oil, right? And so I don't, you know, I tried my very best to help Vice President Harris win this election, and it's so frustrating every day to know that we would not be going through any of this right now had she been in leadership, and how people either chose to not see the truth with everything that he said and the way that he conducted himself as our quote unquote leader, you know, back in 2020, during that time. And now we're dealing with this. So it's just frustrating because we knew that he would show himself in a different way, and we are stuck. So the biggest thing that should be happening right now is once we take back the House, which Democrats should, the majority is slowly dissipating for Republicans, is to impeach this man, because it's enough is enough.
Now, before you go, we're going to let you go in a little bit because we have another break coming up. It's a pleasure having you on, by the way. I wanted to play what the Minneapolis mayor had to say about what's going on in Minneapolis and get your point of view and perspective on that as well. So let's take a listen to that.
To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. What we do know is that a 37-year-old woman is dead and that she was shot by ICE. They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bullshit. This was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying.
You know, I have many questions here. I don't even know where to begin, but let me just, from your perspective, we all saw what happened, and we all see what the reaction is from people in Minneapolis and around the nation is. What's your reaction to this?
Oh, I was completely outraged. And I agree with the mayor. None of this should have happened. This woman should not have died. And the idea that the leadership can gaslight us into thinking we didn't see what we saw was also the last straw. And when I saw the Secretary Noem saying that she was looking into charging this woman even in death, I just was like, this is atrocious. None of these people should be in leadership. None of these people should be in these positions. Many of them need to be impeached, even as cabinet secretaries. And it's frustrating because you feel like you can't really do much, which is why I was really glad to see the protests around the country. The accountability has to be there. And it's just awful. And there was another shooting apparently too of a Black man out in California that is not getting as much traction.
Right. And the two in Portland.
And Portland. Yes. And Portland.
Yeah.
So all of this has to stop. And they are asking for a revolt of the American people because people are getting tired.
Tamia, I'm sitting in New York and I know that you're in DC. If I could hug you, I so would. I really would. And I just can't thank you enough for joining our program today. Enjoyed your insights. And I'm sure we'll be in touch because we have some elections to win in 2026. Okay.
Yes,
all right.
Have
a blessed one. Thank you.
And
I know
thank
that.
you all for having me.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Absolutely.
All right. All right. We're going to come back and we have another half an hour to go. We still have St. Louis with us, Roslyn Smith. We're going to chop it up some more. We have a few more topics to talk about. And I still want to dig into this Minneapolis thing because there's so much dynamics to it. Every day we get up, we get something new. And I saw that they put out a new footage from the ICE agent's perspective, which is kind of changing the narrative in some people's eyes. But nevertheless, we'll talk about that and also what we think is going to happen or what's going to come out of this. All right, Roslyn? So we'll take a break and we'll get right to it. Keep it locked, guys. It's the Community Connection.
This is the Community Connection on Roadblock Radio 101.1 WCBS FM.
Don't you rock my boat, cause I don't want my boat to be rocking. Oh please, don't you rock my boat, no, cause I don't want my boat to be rocking. I'm telling you that, oh, I like it like this. So keep it steady like this. And you should know by now. I like it like this. I like it like this. Ooh yeah. Satisfy my soul. Oh yeah. Satisfy my soul. Every little action. There's a reaction. Oh, can't you see what you've done for me? Oh, I'm happy inside all of the time. Oh, when we bend the new corners, I feel like a sweepstake winner. When I meet you around the corner, you make me feel like a sweepstakes winner. Watch out, can't you see? You must believe me. Oh darling, darling, I'm calling. Can't you see? Why won't you believe me? Oh darling, darling, I'm calling.
no respect, no respect, no respect, no respect, no respect.
Roadblockradio.com. WMXJ 1027 HD3 South Florida.
Turn up your radio. Yes, sir. It's Roadblock Radio. This is the Community Connection on Roadblock Radio 101.1 WCBS FM.
Love and hate can never be friends. Oh no, oh no. Here I come with love and not hatred. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow I all the days of my life. Envy no one, no wish to be with no evil man. For there'll come the day when you'll be whipped by the feathers and leave up huge children. Oh yeah, leave up past children. Yeah. My head is anointed and my cup runneth over. Yeah. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow I all the days of my life. Yeah.
The one and only, the great Dennis Emmanuel Brown here on the Community Connection. I'm David Shepard, Roslyn Smith, and like I said, Patrick Reed is out for the day. As we finish up here in the last 30 minutes here, I'm going to let Roslyn Smith come on in so that we can thank Mr. Umar.
Yes, absolutely. So we have had such a robust conversation today about, just public affairs, what's been happening domestically and abroad, right? And Numa St. Louis has been so impactful in that conversation. And so, of course, we're on Roadblock Radio. We're on YouTube, we're on TikTok. Numa, tell me, how do people stay in touch with you if they want more of some of the insights that you shared today?
Unmute. Sir Louis. Sir St. Louis, unmute for us. There you go.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was unmuted.
Yeah.
It was such a pleasure to join you today, David and Roslyn. This was such a rich conversation. I can't thank you enough for having me. Definitely want to continue these discussions. Folks can reach me on IG. I'm on IG as nstlouis01.
It was a pleasure, man.
Thank you so much, Numa.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Do the same.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right. As we push forward, we have a new guest. Roslyn, let's introduce the new guest.
Absolutely. So I am so honored to introduce our next guest, Jamar Brown, also a nationally respected executive and political strategist. He has more than 17 years of experience building sustainable progressive infrastructure. He most recently served as executive director of Color of Change Political Action Committee, and he previously made history as the first Black executive director of the Texas Democratic Party, where he helped flip key seats and elect candidates of color to Congress. Jamar has also held senior leadership roles at Planned Parenthood, been a part of national presidential campaigns, and he's been featured on Reuters, CNN, Associated Press, and he was kind enough when I reached out today and said, I need you to come on here and talk to the Caribbean diaspora and immigrant communities and give us your insights about 2026 and the midterm elections and what we need to be keeping our eyes and ears open for. So welcome, Jamar.
Hey, Roslyn. Hey, everybody. Good to see y'all. So glad to be on with y'all. And of course, I'm always going to answer the call when my sister calls. So I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so tell us, Jamar. So first of all, we're 11 days into the new year, right? And it's
Just
already
11.
pandemonium. Yep, already. I need Jesus, Mary, Joseph, everybody, Noah,
hmm
that could
All the disciples,
possibly
call them
help me.
all.
Every disciple that's out there to help us, right? And I don't think it's by chance that we have this show on Sundays because I need that some of that overflow to help me stay grounded when we talk about these conversations. So really, we have a wide range in our audience, and a lot of people, are busy. We're
Sure.
working. We can't necessarily follow every breaking news or development in the landscape. So just help us synthesize
Yeah.
what do we need to be paying attention to this year when it comes to midterm elections?
Yeah. Well, there's so many things that we need to pay attention to. And first of all, again, thank y'all so much for having me. And just for everybody around the country, we have unprecedented elections this year, ranging anything from governor in most states across the country to Congress. Every seat in the United States House of Representatives is up, all 435. We have several Senate seats that are up in terms of flipping potentially to another majority also as well. But when you look down the ballot, there's state legislative seats. In some places, there's county council seats. In some places, there's city council, there's school board. So anything all the way up to from school board all the way to U.S. Senate, you potentially will see. And so that's going to be important. And this year, we have an unprecedented amount of candidates from the diaspora, but also from various communities that are running. We have more people, more working class people who are running for office up and down the ballot this year. That's going to be important. But I think a huge thing for your audience to pay attention to is a lot of the voting laws have changed in a lot of states. They change every legislative session. They likely will change through legislative sessions that are happening this year. There are two major changes that folks should look out for. Number one is most states are making you vote in your precinct. So there's some places, so like in Texas, for example, where you could vote anywhere in the county that you live in. But there are some counties in Texas now that are requiring you to go to a specific precinct. And so you'll want to make sure that you look at your voter information online. You can go to your local clerk's office, or you can go to the Secretary of State's office in your respective states and look at where you're supposed to be voting. Look at that particularly. And then the second thing that I think is important for folks to look at is when you look at vote by mail. So those of you who vote by mail, a lot of times it may be our military members, and maybe people who work overseas. It's people who travel, our senior citizens who are voting by mail. This year, there's a new change by the United States Postal Service that said that the date on the USPS stamp is not actually just going to be the date that it's received. It's actually going to be the date that it processed. And so some states actually require you to send by a certain date, or to process by a certain date, or to have it received by a certain date. And so you'll want to look into your respective state law that shows if it's when you send it or when you receive it. But what's going to mess people up if you're not paying attention is not the USPS date on there will be the date that they process it. So if that date comes after the time that they say you need to mail it, potentially your ballot will be late and could potentially be thrown out. That is a huge rule. That rule actually went into effect on Christmas Eve. So imagine, right? We're wrapping gifts. We're putting our dinners together. We're getting together with family, right? So at a time when people probably were not paying attention, this rule went into effect. So I think those are two voting things that I need people to look at outside of the candidates that are running in your respective community. Obviously, research your candidates and who's running. But I do think you need to look at where you're voting. And those of you who vote by mail or have family members that vote by mail, you do need to look into that new USPS rule, because it's going to impact a lot of people in ways that they don't expect. It also is going to impact you by your taxes, right? You have to send your taxes in by a certain time, etc. And so this new rule from date received to date process is going to get people messed up if we're not paying attention. So follow your laws accordingly. Those are two things I think are important for people.
They are very important because, I mean, it seems as if they're making it even more harder and harder for people more difficult for people to vote.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, that's the kind of, and you mentioned earlier about, you know, some people in some states, they might have to go into the police station
Right.
A lot of people, that'll deter a lot of people. You know,
Yeah.
they just don't want to be involved with the police to be, you know, even though it's voting. And then what's the objective of that, though? I mean, you know, with this, what's going on around the world right now, the country, I should say, where, you know, they're checking IDs, saying if you're an immigrant, deporting people, ICE
Oh,
agents out
absolutely.
there. People are going to be skeptical about trying to go to a police station talking about, I'm going to go vote.
No,
You
yeah,
know,
absolutely. And not
it's very
just
interesting.
that, but it's even as we can see just even last week in Minnesota, right, where these people are masked, unidentified, they don't have any regular uniform, right? They dress like you and me, right? And they just walk up to you, and it's not just going to the police station. It's actually if you vote at the library, if you vote at your local elementary or high school, they could just show up anywhere. And we know that this is a long-term movement by white conservatives to maintain white power in this country. And because we know that the country is getting blacker and browner, we know that younger people are coming up and not voting conservative in a lot of ways, as you can look at the data. And so this is a long-term thing to keep power. And so the very people that actually show up to participate in our democracy and our democratic processes, the intimidation that they put, right? Even in Georgia, for example, where they passed a law that you can't even pass out water and food to people, right? It gets to the granular that they don't want certain people to show up, and we still have to show up. And as black and brown people in this country, we have shown up. And so we just have to make sure that until we get to seats of power within our democracy, that we show up where we can. But then folks like me and folks like me around the country are also educating people on these changes so that people don't get discouraged from democracy, therefore the contest of power.
Roslyn?
Yes. And what do you say to people who are discouraged, right? Because we just look at the fact that it's January 11th, the first week of the year. We have people being, you know, experiencing brutal force from ICE. We have world wars that seem to be brewing. We are taking over another country. So to the people who are overwhelmed, that could be spiraling, that are not sure what to do, what do you say to those that feel like, you know what, my vote doesn't count, it's not worth it? What do you say to those people?
Yeah, there are two things I would say, Ross. And one is if your vote didn't count, they wouldn't fight so hard to pass laws and policies that prevent you from voting, right? Because if they didn't care, that you don't need to go to Georgia and tell people not to pass out water and food. You don't need to go to Texas and say you have to vote at this particular location. You don't need to be in Minnesota intimidating people with armed, unidentified police agents or law enforcement, right? You don't need to do those things if those votes did not count or those votes did not matter strategically. So I think number one, because of that, that's important. I think the second thing that is important is what I share with people all the time about politics. This is a contest for power. Democracy was set up by our founders in a lot of ways to ensure that the people had the voice, right? And so making sure that the people understand what their power is and who's running, I think that's super important. And we have to understand that if we want things to change in this country, which I always say that change comes incrementally. It doesn't come as radically or as fast as maybe one would think or one would want. But even with that incremental change, to move the country or to move your community in a particular direction, democracy and the law says that the people must show up and elect their decision makers, right? So when we need continued public education, when we need to protect with law enforcement, when we need, more healthcare, where we see rural hospitals are closing, it's about people showing up and saying, these are the decision makers I want to do a thing, and then advocating to those decision makers once they're elected and holding them accountable.
All right. Before you go, I know Roslyn sent me a clip, and I don't know if you see what's been going on in the media. Just to switch a little bit with Mr. Bryant, his wife, and the dress.
Yeah.
Roslyn, you sent me a clip. Let's take a listen to this this clip.
It's been striking to me to see the confusion, people trying to figure.
Oh wait a minute.
Yes, we're just, you know what it is, Jamal. We are some serious folks on this program. We've been playing all the scary clips about China and nuclear war, and you talking about people struggling at the gas pump.
Yeah.
We need a little relief. And since I called on Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, I figure why not? Since I have another another, not just a regular brother, but a brother in Christ song. We got to talk about Jamal.
Oh, come on.
All right. I think I found it. Here we go.
Okay.
Jamal Bryant married a hoe, and so did your daddy, but nobody talks about that. So the internet decided to have a morality meeting about Pastor Jamal Bryant's wife because of a dress. Not a policy, not a sermon, not a scandal, but a dress. Too tight, too sexy, too much skin, too much woman. Whatever it was, let me tell y'all what hit me. It wasn't a critique because that part was predictable. Respectability always shows up on time when it's time to police black women because they feel good in their bodies. That part that landed with me was the fact that that man said he bought it. He didn't whisper, he didn't hide, he didn't apologize. He owned that shit. He desires to marry a woman who he was excited to come home to. Now listen, that made some folks uncomfortable because they were so used to black men not loving black women at all that seeing somebody come through, especially when it had to deal with the church, made some of y'all feel some type of way. My wife is fine, and I like that she's fine, and I chose her, and I loved her, and I'm not ashamed of wanting her. Ooh, that made y'all feel upset. And we shouldn't feel like that's a radical thing, because why are women's bodies so hypersexualized that a pastor can't honor his wife? Because what people aren't really mad about here isn't her or the fabric. They're mad about black women not shrinking, about her not being disciplined by her man, and especially about a pastor not being a pastor or human before being palatable. Why is holiness always looking like erasure when it comes to women? Why does reverence require desexualization? And why do our spiritual leaders have to always be divine and never embodied? He just defended his wife. He defended black joy. He defended desire without shame. He defended what love looks like for a black man who loves his queen. And yet here we are. Too often, the church teaches us that to be worthy, we got to be smaller, quieter, covered, less seen, less felt as black women. And the moment that this man said, no, you can be holy and hot, loved and loud, sensual and spiritual, you can be chosen without being tamed, that gave scandal to some of y'all. That gave liberation trying to breathe to other people. But if it made you uncomfortable, good. Because growth often does. And until y'all understand that,
Mr. Brown, Jamal, I gotta ask you: do you agree with her? Do you think that it has anything to do with the fact that it's a black man thing and not, what all that stuff she said?
Yeah, there are a lot of things that was shared that I agree with. A couple points I'll make before we wrap up, and I'm gonna try to make them concise. Is
okay.
Number one, so I grew up in the Baptist church in Charleston, South Carolina. So I'm from the South, where typically in the past everybody's covered up, man and woman. Everybody's been told that you're supposed to wear a certain thing. There's always been a uniform. If you serve as an officer of the church, whether you're the pastor, the first lady, or deacon, or on the choir, or whatever, that's been a thing. I think, secondly, I agree with the whole point about respectability, and respectability has looked different for different types of people, right, in and out of the church, and that's unfair in a lot of ways. And the third point that I think that I'll make is, to be completely honest, is we have to decide what we want to talk about as a community. I get all the social issues, especially now because of social media and everything's moving so fast. But let's just be honest, right? We just sat and had a conversation about our votes being under attack. Our country is now under siege. Hospitals are closing. That our people are dying because they can't even get the health care that they need and deserve. The public education system, in a lot of ways, is targeting our children. And the thing that I would wish that we would talk about are those issues that would move our community forward. We're not talking about opening new businesses, new hospitals, moving people through careers. The thing that I will say that I've told all my friends is, at the end of the day, that was not a church event. She was raising money for HBCUs. She was raising money for scholarships to make sure that people who look like us on this, not just here, but your listeners, that we could go to college and have educational opportunities. When you see the federal government is cutting billions of dollars, particularly from HBCUs, where even after Charlie Kirk's assassination, who got targeted? HBCUs. There were, various bomb threats and gun threats on those campuses. And so our community has been under attack and under siege. And I hope that the thing that would decide if we progress as a community would not be somebody's dress. I think that there are bigger issues for us to talk about, bigger things that we need to do. And I hope that the same energy that people are spending on a dress from a fundraiser for HBCUs, that people would move to the voting booth, not just in the general election, but also in the primary, that we show up and vote every single time. So I think there are bigger issues to fry. And I think there's some deeper church issues where those issues come from.
Jamar, I cannot thank you enough for joining us today. And I couldn't agree with you I don't even think it's really about a dress. I think there's a lot of pastors out here who grew up thinking they were going to be the next MLK, the next revered civil rights leader. And, Pastor Jamal Bryant was at the helm of the boycotts and holding companies accountable for dismantling DEI. And,
That's right.
this dress is just an opportunity to take shots at him and to hurt him by way of his wife. So couldn't agree with you more, Jamar. As a people, we need to be focused on the things that are important. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank y'all for having me. I can't wait to come back.
Appreciate it.
Yay.
Thank you so much.
All right. Appreciate y'all.
All right. All right. So Roslyn, have you seen the Doomsday plane that's been showing up at LAX?
No, tell me. Tell me more.
So they have a Doomsday plane, and it left, and now for some reason it just landed back at LAX, returned to Los Angeles International Airport. It's capable of surviving a nuclear attack. And people are concerned now about, or not concerned. Yeah, I guess there's some concern. And now there's, speculations, and everybody's chattering now as to why the Doomsday plane has been spotted twice at LAX in the span of 2 to 3 days. So, are you prepared for a Doomsday?
You know what? I am one of those people. I have solar generators in my home. I have more water stored than what one petite woman as myself could reasonably consume in a short period of time. You know what? I think that we're in a time where it does not hurt to be prepared, right? And to think ahead, because what we've seen, in recent years is things can happen very quickly, right? And we need to just put a little thought into it. Anytime I'm at the grocery store, I try to grab a little bit extra, not in excess, but I'm always trying to keep my non-perishables, well stocked, because you just never know.
I was asked this question a few days ago, and I'm going to ask it to you as well. Are you prepared if there's a power outage?
I am. I've thought through that scenario, because I think when we consider what does modern warfare look like, it's not us lining up with cannons and taking each other head on. I think one of the most modern war tactics is to create instability. And one of the fastest ways I think you could drive any society crazy, and Americans in particular, is once you start messing with that power grid line, you're going to see some ugly come out.
I agree. Unfortunately, we are out of time. We have a few more minutes to go. Was there anything else you wanted to throw out there before we exit the show today?
No, I just want to thank everyone for listening and hope that you all have a blessed week. And David, thank you for being at the helm of the show today. It's always such a joy to hear your voice and perspective.
Always a pleasure working with you guys. Appreciate it. I wish you have the rest of the evening. Enjoy it. Have a blessed day, and also have a productive week.
Thank you.
All right, guys, there you go. You have it. Roslyn Smith. I'm David Shepard. This was the Community Connection. Each and every Sunday right here, you can catch us or them here on Roadblock Radio from 2 to 4 p.m. All right, Patrick Reed, I'm sure he'll be joining the cast and crew back some point in the future. But thank you all for keeping it locked right here. You can catch me on The Morning Grind tomorrow morning with Ian the Goose, Sandy Daly, right here from 10 to 12 noon. And of course, also on the Island Vibe on Saturdays, 10 to 12 noon as well, with Jennifer Rampersad. All right, you can catch me also on social media at D Shepard. Shepard is spelled S-H-E, guys. P-E-R-D. All right, people come to me like, hey, I can't find you on Instagram. It's spelled that way. Roslyn, do you have a social media connect?
I most certainly do. You can follow me. It's at Roz Lioness. So RAHZLIONESS, Roz Lioness, on Instagram and TikTok.
Right. And you can, of course, follow Roadblock Radio on the social media platform as well at Roadblock Radio. And, of course, you can log on to roadblockradio.com as well. Thank you all for keeping it locked. Have a productive evening. I'm not sure who's up next, but keep it locked. I'm sure the energy continue right here on Roadblock Radio.
Love and hate can never be friends. Oh, no. Oh no.